Hello, hello, hello. It is episode 100 and I'm seriously celebrating over here. I've been doing my own private happy dances because I can and because I want to, because I keep hearing from multiple people I've interviewed that dancing is super therapeutic. And to be honest, that is one of the reasons I chose to interview Dimple Thakrar today for this special episode, because she is one of the people who taught me about the happy dance and that it's okay to celebrate yourself. And that if you don't celebrate yourself, like if you're waiting for other people to celebrate what you do and who you are and what you're about, you have to do that for yourself. So we actually recorded this episode on a special day, 11/11, which some of you may see often when you look at your phone. You'll see 11/11 or the clock in the kitchen or whatever. You're just passing by a clock and you see 11/11. It's kind of a special portal number. It's sometimes been thought that this is a number, like an angel number or something, just like a hello from heaven, from the other side, from your guides or angels. And I've done podcast episodes on angels and guides. I just felt like Dimple was the one to bring into this episode because she and I have done so much work together in 2020 on helping women, particularly couples, women who are involved in a partnership, marriage specifically, to find the truth of who they are, because it's really hard to be in a relationship that is healthy if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself. And I was actually going to call this episode Take Care of the Girl and the Woman Will Rise, because we do talk about that in this episode. And what that means is that you have to nurture your inner self before you can stand up and try to nurture others. And for women, this is a hard lesson. It is a deep lesson. And so Dimple, I don't even know where to begin about this lady. I have interviewed her before on the podcast. She is a world-renowned love and relationships coach. And she has a really powerful story that, she and I both have been married the same amount of time. And the way we connected in Costa Rica and all of that is just fun. I like to see how the universe put us together, because we are so, even though we've been raised on totally separate continents and we have very different dynamics in how we were raised and, where our life stations are, we're so similar in how we see what's happening on the planet and what's happening with relationships and what's happening within individuals. I'm celebrating her today too, because she was a big part of my 2020. Honestly, our Fix Your Marriage in 40 Days has been an incredible journey and experience to do, healing my own marriage. And she and I both will talk about that in this episode. We'll talk about how we healed our marriages and how we healed the marriage to ourselves. So you can check her out on dimple.love. dimple.love. You can see our shared offering, which is Fix Your Marriage in 40 Days. And you can just go find that at fixyourmarriageinfortydays.com. But we also have another course called Freedom in Marriage. And we do a lot of work together about women stepping into their goddess self and resting back into who they are. It's not about working harder. It's about letting yourself express and being who you actually are and letting that stream through the light of who you are. And for men too, she works with men a little bit more than I do, but she is brilliant about calling things out and doing it in a way that's very feminine centered and very, very powerful. I think you're really going to like this episode. And go into today, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, Women's Seeking Wholeness Wednesday, go into my Facebook group, Women Seeking Wholeness, ask to join. I will be posting the winners of our drawing that I was leading up to for this 100th episode for those who will get entrance into Dance Speak Shine School and get a coaching session with me. So happy listening. Love you all. And I hope you like the intro music, because my son Noah kind of spliced that together. He's my new podcast producer. He has been for the past several episodes. And just wanted to give a shout out to my son Noah, and he better not edit this out. Happy listening. Dimple, my dear friend.
Cherie, hello.
I have to tell the listeners straight off the bat, even though we met, it's almost been a year since we met, but it feels like I have known you eternities.
Yeah, lifetimes.
Lifetimes.
Yeah.
And for any of you who have kind of dabbled in what Dimple and I offer with Fix Your Marriage in 40 Days or our free marriage masterclass we did earlier this year, you'll know that we both met in Costa Rica at a marriage retreat. Dimple was facilitating. She was there with her husband. I was there with Jeff. I was there to heal my marriage. Jeff and I had been on the verge of divorce, and after almost 25 years of marriage, and Dimple and her husband Atul became fast friends of ours. But what was interesting is I needed someone like you, Dimple, to look me in the eye and tell it like it is in a very fierce, feminine way that didn't feel like it was injurious to my spirit.
Right. Absolutely.
And I'll always honor you for that. And I just giggled because,
Thank you.
Well, I just giggle because of my first impression of you, because I didn't actually see you, but I heard you because our rooms were right next to each other before the retreat started. And I could hear this woman singing, and not just singing in the shower, you guys, like, it was like the oldies. It was like, my girl, my girl, my girl.
Talking about my girl.
Yeah. Like that, you guys. And I'm like, why is she so happy? Who does this? Like, who's so happy? And what was beautiful is, like, when I met you in person, first of all, you're gorgeous and so kind, and you just have these doe eyes and you just look right into people and you just have this beautiful energy. But I loved your sass. I guess that's why. And I just met my match in that department because you and we just have this fierce feminine side to us, but you let that come out. You modeled that to me in a very healthy way that I hadn't seen before.
Wow.
And so thank you.
Gosh, Cherie, I'm crying. What a gift.
Oh, well.
Like Cherie and I have Cherie, before the podcast, she'll give you a little light intro as to how she wants it to go. Not much, but just a little teaser. She did not tell me about that intro. Like,
I
wow.
know. I just threw that at you because I wanted us to get in the zone first, but you know what? It's amazing. Like, we were supposed to meet. It was destiny. Yeah. By the end of that, I don't even know how long we were there. I remember you looked at me and said, I'm here on the earth to save marriages. And I literally got the chills through my entire body. And I got a download from the spirit. It didn't necessarily come in language, but the knowing that I got when you said that was, Cherie, this is exactly why you have walked through your issues with Jeff. Yeah. It's all led up to when you voiced that. It was like I had a knowing in my soul that was part of my mission as well, that I'm here on the earth to help save marriages and the marriage to self, which we're going to talk about. Yes. But yeah, so for those of you guys who don't know, like you can see mine and Dimple's work. What is I don't even know our website right now.
It's Fix Your Marriage, I think.
Fix Your Marriage in 40 days.com.
Yeah, I think so. Or I think it's actually fixyourmarriage.com.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Well, I'll clear that up while we're talking. But yeah, we've since done, it's not fixyourmarriage.com. We've since done a lot of work together just in being able to help wake people up to not being in the state of hopelessness. And it is fixyourmarriageinfortydays.com. Okay. Fixyourmarriageinfortydays.com. But we've done just some soul-based, get to the heart of, let's heal this, people. What's really going on? Right. And where you shine is you're so good at nailing the feminine and masculine energy with couples and really bringing them together to get to the heart of it with the relationships. Where I feel like I come in is the marriage to self. and how you, because what had happened in my marriage when I filed for divorce from Jeff is that I had actually on some level filed for divorce from myself. And as I started to heal, and not like he's like an angel or, well, he is, but it's not like he wasn't without his own accountability. But when we both owned our own stuff, it changed everything. So,
the game changer is holding yourself responsible for your own feelings, your own actions, your own thoughts. And speaking the truth. And what I believe you're referring to, Cherie, is my ability to actually say it as it is, call it as it is. You owe it to yourself. And I think that's truly why you and I work so well together, is because we speak the truth. We don't bullshit you around, because there's far too many people that will tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. And it takes courage and it takes strength to firstly say it to somebody in a way that is meant with so much love and so much compassion, but firm. And for that person to be in the place where they are able to receive it. And you were there, you were in that place, you've done the work. You were at the point, Cherie, where you were like, I am open to hearing the truth. And for many years, people aren't open to hearing the truth. And we find that with ourselves and with our beloved, that we spiral into this life of mistruth and not living and expecting things from others and yourself without really going deep into the truth of what it is that's hurting you. What is it you need?
Right. And I think one of the things that I've learned this last year really, really powerfully is I'm a little older than you, but you and I have been married the same amount of time, 25 years. And, you grow up with your spouse when you've been married that long. But before that, like I thought that I had healed my baggage for the most part. Like I had done so much personal development work over the last, 20 years or something, 30 years, I don't even know. I've gone to retreats. I've led things. I've climbed in, I've had multiple mentors. And what's interesting is that this last year, well, mostly 2019, every one of my wounds and traumas came to the forefront.
Yep.
And like you said, it was like, I was ready.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to keep resurfacing. Like I need to climb in. And what I'm finding with women, and I think this is happening on the planet, is we're entering an age where people are forced to look at their wounds, their trauma.
Yeah.
And it's right, the planet is doing that. and we are confronted with that. And for me, it was like, okay, well, I just get to keep peeling all the layers right down to a core of the wounds here. And it's only when you do that, that you can be liberated. Wouldn't you agree?
I would actually go, I would 100% agree and say, actually, it's about, we are being forced to look inwards and feel, to actually feel the feelings, to actually stop putting stories and meanings to the feelings. Well, I feel like this because of this happened to me, or I feel like this because this happened to me. And so we default and we bat away the feeling because we put a meaning and a story to it. Right. I in my marriage felt for a long time frightened that my husband would be the same as what I'd witnessed in my parents' marriage. So I protected myself and I didn't allow him in. Well, that's a bullshit story, which I truly believed. And as a result, it stopped me from going inwards and really feeling the feeling that actually it's okay to let him in. You're safe. right? But I had to let go of the story. I had to let go of the story. And so what's happening now is that with the whole pandemic and us having to be locked down, locked in, we have no other distractions but to go inwards.
Yeah.
We can't run away. We can't.
Yeah, we're confronted with ourselves.
Right. And we're confronted in a way that Mother Nature, Mother Earth has taken responsibility and ownership and accountability because the humans weren't doing it. So I firmly, and I want to footnote say that my heart goes out to people who are suffering right now. My heart does. Like I've had a very close family member been diagnosed with something very serious in this time. So it's not that I'm not with compassion, but I choose to see the gift in this pandemic. Mm-hmm. It's a decision. You choose to see what you choose to see and decide what is the good. Because when you focus on that, when you focus on going inwards, when you focus on just feeling the sadness or just feeling the guilt or feeling the shame or feeling the regret without putting a label on yourself, without judging yourself, without having a story attached to it.
Yeah, allowing yourself to feel without attaching a story is quite the feat. It takes some skill to take the charge out of that. And I think that's, when some of my, old trauma surfaced and I was confronted with it. And some of it was about men, which it was like, this is a serious wound. I've now learned that everyone has a mother and a father wound, no matter how amazing your parents were. It's just something we're collectively carrying. But when I was confronted with like, how do I feel about the patriarchy? How do I feel about men? There was all this seething anger that I hadn't really addressed. And guess who was on the brunt end of that? My husband.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and also it was in me, I had some unhealthy masculine in me that I still continue to confront because I've got a lot of yang energy. I go and I get things done and I activate things and I start things. And sometimes I can be very bulldozing. And you've experienced that. You've experienced that with me. Let's be honest. I'm like that.
Yeah, I have. And I honor you for your truth because it actually takes some depth of a person who's doing the work to speak their truth. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But also the reason we work well together is because we both speak our truth and we both speak it in a way that's in service to everyone. Right?
Yeah.
So like when I said to you, Cherie, no, I'm not having you, like, this is not working. Like, and you stepped into courage. And I honor you for that because you looked inward and you went, hang on a minute. This is great feedback for me. What is happening? And I honor you for that because as a sister, we rise together. Everybody rises together. There's nobody right. There's nobody wrong. There's nobody more expert than anybody. We're all at different levels with different stages and different places. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. And what's interesting is like, and we talked about this before we started the recording. Yeah. We're learning. You and I are like avid learners. Like somebody shines a flashlight into my soul and point something out. I'm going to have resistance, right? Because that's normal. But after a while, you're like, what do you see?
Right.
Show me what you're seeing. And there was an incident with somebody close to me this last week where they confronted someone who had been abusing them. And that person went into absolute denial and would not own the pain they caused this other individual. And I got so mad. I probably got more mad than the person who confronted their abuser for on behalf of them. And then that made me go, okay, why am I so triggered by this? Why would unacknowledged abuse by an abuser trigger me so much? So it's always this invitation to come back and go down and in. So that is going to bring us into the feminine, which is the down and in. Sit back on your goddess throne, which you and I are always trying to affirm for each other.
Yes.
Rest back on that goddess throne.
And feel.
So tell me, okay, so with that, tell me how you came to that personal realization for yourself. What was the catalyst for you to be like, all right, the old way wasn't working? Because I know you were very like driven and
100%. I operated probably, and the figures are arbitrary, and I've mentioned this in the past, but I operated and I was completely unaware, about 80% masculine energy and 20% feminine. And for me, I now know that my natural, and for some women, that is their natural state of core, and that's brilliant. Yeah. But for me, I was woken up very profoundly and made super aware by Tony Robbins, which is in the previous podcast. So I won't go into that story. Listen to that if you want to understand how.
It's a good story.
Yeah. And so with the inner work that I've been doing, which by the way, I do daily, this work doesn't finish. I'm an avid student. I'm always learning. And so I learned that my happy place is 80% feminine and 20% masculine energy. And the way I know that is because if I feel pain in my body, and it's always around my neck area, that's where I hold pain when my testosterone levels go too high and I'm operating in my masculine for too long. That's when I know I need to, I've been leaning forward too much. I need to lean back. And what does leaning back mean? Because I've been asked this a few times. Yeah. Leaning back means pausing. It means taking a breath. It means literally leaning back in your seat, taking a moment and doing things that light me up. So for me, they are singing songs like My Girl. They are dancing. They are being with water. So that morning when you heard me in the shower, I was reconnecting with my feminine in the shower with water.
So you were like super intentional as a practice. It wasn't just like, I think I'll sing. Like no. You had jet lag. You told me this later. Like you had jet lag. You're like, I gotta raise my energy here.
Right. I have to actively, when I woke up that morning, we'd been traveling for, I think 24 hours, right? We'd been from England. In 2 weeks, we'd done England, New York, a trade show, gone to Hawaii for literally 24 hours from New York, and then gone to Costa Rica. Like, it was crazy. Actually, we did that in, I think it was 8 days. Right. So I was super jet lagged and exhausted. And that day, getting ready to facilitate a 5-day relationship event. Right. And so I was super intentional with raising my vibe and getting into my feminine. Why? Why was I doing that? Because I know I operate and optimize and work to my best when I'm in my feminine. Right? I hear women all the time say, well, how do you get stuff done? Because I trust my feminine. Whatever's meant to get done will get done. And of course, there are times when I have to go into my masculine and I get action done. But I can tell you for nothing, I get a lot more done in my feminine when I let go than I do in my masculine. A lot more.
I'm learning that for myself. It's less is more.
Yes.
And it's resting back into my true power. And it's like I have this visual that I go to and I don't want it to come out wrong, but it's, you know how those Egyptian goddesses just kind of like sat back on their, and then they had like someone's palm fronds kind of like cooling them off.
You literally wait for it to come to you. That's exactly the perfect image.
And a cat on my lap, even though I really don't love cats, just for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's my visual. And in the old hieroglyphs that you can see, there's usually like, let's just say Osiris and Isis or whatever, like he's standing behind her. She's on the throne and he's there standing by her. And it's like all this honor for the feminine, at least in those egalitarian societies where they had divine coupling, where both sexes had this equal voice and influence and power and, you know, able to give equal input.
And actually, it's so interesting, right? Because I firmly believe that we have equality when we both men and women step into their truth, step into their authentic truth, right? Mm-hmm. So step into their energy balance of masculine and feminine within them. And that actually, as women, we rise and lead when we step into our feminine, when we hold our power, when we, and within the marriage, we can shift the marriage. And we can learn that by stepping into our power, if the marriage doesn't shift, then it's not the right one, right? And that provides us with the strength to say no. But in order for that to occur, we have to be in our truth.
Yeah.
So you know, when I talk about saving marriages, I talk about it past, present, and future. So what does that mean? It means stepping into your truth to know whether you're with the one, right? And if you're not, then giving you the grace, the courage to find the one, to release them, to let go in a beautiful, elegant, graceful way so that you can both be happy and have the desired intimacy and passion, right? So
yeah, that's been a big, I remember when Jeff and I had that moment where it was like, boom, just, you know, because what you're talking about with stepping into your truth, I kind of see that also as like inner alignment.
Yes.
That you can hear your own soul voice, because that when you're aligned with your divine soul, you're aligned with God, or however you define that, then you're going to make the highest choice for yourself when your soul is in the driver's seat. So when I finally got through all the ego and I was just like, all right, no. And I got right down to, it's like, do I want to be with this man? And it was a resounding yes. Duh. Yes. Exactly. And it's like what you're saying is really powerful, because you could translate that to any decision, any juncture in your life, any crossroads. Yeah. And it's like, until you experience that inner alignment, or that stepping into your truth,
right?
Not your family, not your children, not your spouse, your truth, then you cannot make the best decision. And I feel like that's what we're leading. You know, that's my life goal, is to not only do that for myself, but teach women how to come into that space for themselves.
Right. Absolutely. And for me, it's teaching men as well. Because unfortunately what's occurred is that as we talk about women stepping into their power, there's been a shift in the dynamic, and men have, is there a word, depowered themselves?
Disempowered, yeah.
Disempowered, thank you. Disempowered themselves, right?
Emasculated.
Yeah, they've handed over their balls, right? unknowingly, yeah. And women have unknowingly demasculated men and taken their balls in a bid to feel safe and have the power.
Yeah.
But it's all gone the wrong way around, right? So I talk to, and I work mainly with men and then the women, the couples, about this balance, readdressing the balance. So as we talk about women stepping into their power and rising, we also have to address the balance of men stepping into their power and rising in order for us all to rise together. When I win, you win, the universe provides, right? Win, win, win.
I love that. And one of the quotes that I think you and I kind of learned at the same time, or maybe we learned it in different places and had the same aha, but when you take care of the boy, the man will rise. And
I actually learned that with Sage Robbins, and Sage Robbins, she taught it me when I had my awakening, and it was so powerful. I use it all the time at all of my speaking in conferences. It's
Then you probably are the one that told me that. I think you could do it the other way. Take care of the girl and the woman will rise.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the images that you and I use together when we do the Fix Your Marriage in 40 Days is that image of that boy and that girl sculpture. Yes. Well, where it's like the outer frame is the man and woman. Yeah, they're in a cage. The man and woman have their backs to each other, and their little inner child is like reaching out is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I would also say, take care of the inner child in you and the real you will rise.
100%. It's both. It's actually a three-way thing, right? Take care of the little boy, the little girl, and the man or the woman will rise for yourself first, and then for your beloved. Right?
So let's go into this whole power differential between the feminine, which I'm going to define in my way, and feminism. Again, not making either one bad or good, because I actually identify as a feminist, and I'll explain why. But I loved how you and I had a discussion a little while back about that, and I loved what you had to share on that. So for me, the feminine is, I kind of see it as like the feminine face of God. So with a capital F, the feminine. So it could mean feminine energy, like the divine feminine energy in you, the pure form. So the sacred self, also the feminine God. So everyone, it's the huge mystery, right? Nobody can really pin down who or what she is. But for me, the feminine is an all-encompassing term for that power. And it's pure love, but pure power. And it's this ancient Mother Earth, all these priestesses and goddesses. It's all of this, the force and beauty of that combined. So it's really hard to define. But for me, when I use the term feminine with a capital F, I'm referring to that pure feminine, raw force, raw love power. Feminism to me is the expression, the allowing of the expression with that in union with healthy masculine. So I am an advocate in feminism, not in the old waves of feminism, not the old way of anger. And I mean, there might be a little anger with it, right? Because there is injustice, but it's mostly like the expression of and the allowing of that to move our society in the right direction, along with the divine masculine.
I like the way you clarified that, Cherie. The conversation I remember that we had, it was triggered, not triggered, triggered's the wrong word. It was started as a result of me having a conversation with a beautiful male friend of mine who's done a lot of inner work and has been hurt several times with strong women. And when I say strong, women who are super successful, super powerful, and operating very much in their masculine in doing so. And he was speaking frankly with me about how he had been burnt a few times by an inverted commas feminists. Mm-hmm. So talking about the old stereotypical definition, and this was a conversation just last week, and for him and his experience and talking with his male counterparts, it's real. Like, it's real. They still feel less than, and that it's almost like if she wins, we lose feeling. Yeah. For them. And so the conversation that it's about for you and I was the whole dynamics between feminist and feminism, right? Mm. And the old definition of a feminist having to rise above men in order to prove their point, right? In order to gain their power. So the idea that for them to win, somebody has to lose, right? Right. And the feminine power is all about what we talked about earlier, about when a woman rises in her true Mother Earth, all the things you talked about, the ability to love, the ability to bring life into the world, all these unique, strong, powerful positions that will also provide them with powerful positions in society. When you rise in that power, you magnetize men. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Instead of repelling them
away. So everybody rises. So I'll give you a visualization just to help explain. Imagine the boardroom, right? We're in the boardroom and there's a woman that walks in and she's suited and booted, and her energy and her vibe is all about putting everybody down. It's all about, it's my way or the highway. Right? Mm-hmm. Does she magnetize you towards you to wanting the greater good to rise, or does she repel you? And then you have the contrast of a woman that walks in her absolute feminine power, who knows her mind, who knows what her agenda is, and who magnetizes through the way that she softens and admires and acknowledges, and
so graciousness
and opens up the conversation. There is not one person, male or female, that will not help and support that cause. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Those two differences is what I'm talking about. And in the same room, same instance, if we switch the boardroom to the bedroom, right?
Yeah. Well, let's go back to that boardroom setting, because that's exactly what I was talking about with, because typically women aren't given the full stage, if you will, and the full microphone in times past. And it's still that way. So you perfectly illustrated my point of, like, my definition of feminism is a woman who stands in her power, in her healthy feminine. Yes. And she can be, a leader, a voice, driving the conversation, not driving, but leading the conversation in a collaborative way. And men aren't threatened by that. Their unhealthy masculine is not threatened by that, because she's inviting. But so many women feel like they have to step into their own unhealthy masculine just to have a voice. And I understand that because they have made judgments that because she's a woman, she must not have, she must not bring as much to the table as their male counterparts because they're in their unhealthy masculine thinking that, right?
Or it may be that the woman perception is that.
Yeah. And so
what if she's already, what if she's already decided that they're judging her? Right. When actually the truth is nobody is except herself.
Right. Isn't it all comes back to like your own inner alignment and how you're projecting your own insecurities and your own trauma and your own wounds to everyone you come in contact with. Right.
And the moment you decide to take responsibility of that, the moment you decide that actually you are at cause, not effect.
Yeah.
Right. That you are actually taking responsibility and going inwards, because the feedback, the way people respond to you is feedback to your communication. So if you are going into the boardroom expecting them to judge you for being a woman, guess what they'll do? Judge you for being a woman. Or that will be your perception of what they're doing. They may not be. They may actually be thinking, wow, this is a powerful woman. Or they may be thinking about their own troubles or their own wounds or what it's triggering for them.
Exactly.
People actually aren't that consumed by you as you think you are, as you think they are, right?
Well, there's this thing, where there's this thing in adolescent psychology, in the adolescent developmental stage, where this thing called imaginary audience. And many of us adults carry that into our adulthood, where it's like you literally think everyone, like walking down the halls of high school. I don't know what they have in England, if it's the same, I'm sure it is, but it's just like if you have one zit on your face or, you wonder if like they notice this or that, like you are so paranoid that everyone in the entire world is focused on you. And all of your perceived insecurities. And we still project that. We still, like you said, we emit this frequency when we're in these situations, and people respond energetically and subconsciously accordingly.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. And the same occurs in marriage. Exactly the same thing happens in marriage. You think he's upset with you because he's quiet, or you think she's upset with you because she's screaming at you. It's not true. Often he's quiet because he's focused on something else completely different. And you've made an assumption and you've mind read and 2 + 2 = 5 million, right? Or like he's thought, I'll give you an example. It's a funny story just to illustrate it. But the other day I told my husband, I came into the bedroom and I had this black dress on. And he said, "Oh, that dress looks lovely." And I said, "Oh, is it the dress that looks lovely or the body inside?" Just joking, like half tongue, half cheek, like teasing, right? And he said, "Oh, no, it's definitely the dress. It's beautiful." Now, he's bought me the dress. He buys all my clothes because he loves
He does. You always look so good. Oh, my gosh. I didn't know that.
He buys everything. He loves to shop. I literally go in a shop and stand there in the changing room and he brings things.
Are you even kidding me right now? You're always dressed so good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he does everything. Awesome. My underwear, shoes, everything. And I love it because it's our thing, right? and it's so empowering for both of us, right? So, and it's fun. And so, I get to practice my receiving, right? I get to practice and he gets to practice giving. So, and he said, "Oh no, it's definitely a dress." And I was tired and I was frustrated from something that happened 2 days before. And I roared. I was like, "Well, it's not the dress, it's the woman inside and it's this body inside." Because I've been working out and I've been looking at, all of that came out.
All your stuff. Right? Yeah.
All my stuff.
All your stuff that you feel about yourself has nothing to do with him.
That's right. The dogs are even going mad now. I don't know why, but I think there's somebody at the door. Apologies for that. So all my stuff came out, right? Now, he's like, what is going on? What is like, the dress looks gorgeous on you. What is going on? And he's apologizing because clearly he doesn't even know what he's apologizing for, what he's done wrong. Right? And the truth is, I was upset about something 3 days before. How was he supposed to know?
Right. That's what we do though. As women, we're like, he should know that I'm.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So in the same breath, we make assumptions and presumptions, right? And we expect them to be mind readers, both ways round. This isn't just about men. It's both ways, right?
Yeah.
And so what if in that moment you just went inwards and went, what is this really about? And what it was really about for me was that he was so focused on a project he's doing at work that he had disconnected for 2 days. And I had taken that like he doesn't care and doesn't love me. Well, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do. Like, we've been together 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you guys have the sweetest. Yeah. And I just have to tell the listeners this really fast. This is like the sweetest thing I've ever heard in my life. Your husband was in the room, I think, or house at least, when you were born, because your families were friends, right? Yeah. Is that right? He was like there when you were born.
Yeah. He was one of the first visitors to come to the hospital. Yeah. Because his father and my father were best friends. So
that's so sweet. Sorry, I just had to insert that.
We weren't seeing each other at that point. I have to clarify. Like, we started seeing each other when I was 17. So it's very. But he's been my protector, my best friend all my life. So
and I sensed that when I met him. He just has a lot of protection energy for you. And what's crazy is the first time Jeff ever saw me, not met me, just like saw me across the room, he told me that he felt an instant sense of protection. I didn't know this, but there was a guy sitting next to me who was married, who was trying to hit on me, and I was completely oblivious.
Yeah.
And even though Jeff and I weren't dating, we'd never met, we'd never seen each other, he felt the protection for me, which was really cool. And that's a massive part of the masculine, that magnetism, right? Because I think, God, that the first time that Jeff ever saw me, that I had that magnetism, that drawing in, that he would feel that want to have that kind of protection. I was just in a very open and vulnerable place in my life at that time. And as I look back, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, now that I understand feminine energy and the law of attraction and that magnetism, that art of feminine magnetism that you're talking about, it's so powerful.
It's huge. It's huge. And the art of, the key to this is that we're not saying that women can't protect themselves. We're not. What occurs is as the man is in his authentic masculine energy and the woman's in her authentic feminine balance, there is this dynamic that women are, and this dates back from the Stone Age, that we are prey and they are the predator, right? And so they have this huge thing to protect. It's innate in them. They will protect. Right?
I can see that in my sons.
Yes.
I can feel it in my son that's 8 even right now. Like
100%. 100%. There's a video, I remember seeing it. It was a girl and a boy, and they were playing, and this little girl, she was 3, I think, and she was stood on this block and it was wobbly, right? Now the block was only like she could step down, put it that way. It was easy for her to step down. But she was so in her pure, authentic self. This little boy held his hand out and helped her down, right? And it was the innocence of play, and she gave him a kiss. Right? And it was the innocence of play. What is that about? It's about women choosing to surrender to their protector. It's a choice. It's not surrendering and being feeble and weak.
It's not giving your power away.
It's not giving your power away. It's about choosing, like that little girl chose to let that little boy help her down. Right? The feminine is all about receiving. Yeah. The masculine is all about giving. So when you hear a woman say, I'm constantly giving, all I do is give all day. All I do, I'm exhausted. You will be exhausted because I can guarantee you are operating in your masculine. And
that's so interesting because we feel we are natural nurturers. Right. So the way that is giving, but we don't turn it in on ourselves and nurture ourselves.
Right. It's the energy by which you do it. If you nurture from a place of love, then it doesn't feel like it's taking from you.
Beautiful.
Right?
That's beautiful. That's a truth bomb.
Yeah.
I want to kind of round this out with the nurture, like the practical nurturing of our feminine energy. And I would say this is true for men and women, not just women. Yes. But if you're a woman, it's healthier to lead with your feminine energy, not your masculine energy. You can have a healthy dose of masculine energy. We all do. And so sometimes it necessitates you step into a more of a warrior space, more of that healthy masculine drive or whatever. But like you said, you were flipped, you were 80-20 on the masculine side. And then when you woke up and you're like, oh, I do better when I'm in my 80% feminine, right?
100%. Yeah.
I think I'm the same way. I think I feel better when I'm operating from that 80% goddess, priestess, resting back, leaning in, leaning back. Yeah. So you talked about a few things, and it kind of came back to when I first not met you, but my first impression of you in the shower. So things that nurture, things that bring this feminine energy out. So water, music, using voice, like singing or speaking. Yeah. What other things have you found?
So for me, the essential oils, crystals, having sun on my face, on my skin. Actually having the sun on my skin, obviously in a healthy way. And
anything with nature, I would think.
Anything with nature, putting my feet in the sand, putting my feet in the grass, grounding myself, allowing myself to take care of me with no apologies or, like one of the clients that I work with, a couple, when the woman was the one who was the breadwinner, and they'd been married 25 years and it had flipped over. He was the breadwinner. He decided to retire and she pursued her career and was doing super successful. And so she was the one going to work and he was the one at home. And when I said to her, when was the last time you allowed yourself to go get your nails done or have your hair done or go for a massage? And she said, well, I bought him and me a whole year's worth of massages every month, right? And she says, I haven't been yet. And he goes every week. And they keep saying, your wife's not been. And I said, so why aren't you? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to look after you without guilt, without feeling like you haven't got the time to do that? Because I can guarantee you, this woman started to make time for herself. We had a conversation just this week. She was glowing. And here's the drop the mic moment. Her business and revenue had gone up 50%, and she was doing less. Less hours. She was spending more time with her husband. She was spending time with her granddaughter, with her mother, and her nails were done, and she was getting regular massages. Right?
I am telling you, it is a real phenomenon that when women nurture that inner child, that inner teenager, that girl who wants to be pretty and play,
yes,
she experiences a massive increase in productivity.
Yep.
Her
everything.
But our bodies, like our natural wiring and our old programming, think it's the opposite, that that's frivolous, that's a waste of time, you're not going to get anything done. And that's so sad because we have to fight that. We have to fight those voices all the time.
And often we think that, our men will understand and they'll think we're, being frivolous. And actually it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. They love for us to take care of ourselves. They love it. Like I just said, my husband loves to shop for me.
He needs to give Jeff some lessons. That is hilarious.
Hours. We can be hours in the department store. He loves it because here's why he loves it as well. So ladies, this is a top tip. When he first started doing it, I would be like, I'm not trying this on. This is so much, right? And it was a painful experience. And then I realized, this isn't working. This is not working. When I experience pain, that is my wake-up call. And so I learned the art of receiving. So every time we have this experience, I am laughing and giggling and open to trying anything on and honest though, and I'll try something on. And if I don't like it, I'll say, I love that you picked this, but the cut's not quite right for me. But I do want you to try and I will
finding a way to appreciate whatever.
Yeah. And I'll give pointers and I'll say, could you find me something that has this line? Right? Or this cut or this color. But, and I'll also say, I'm really grateful though that I tried it on because now I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I know that this color isn't for me. And so still standing in your power and in your truth, but in a beautiful way that's like, have you ever given somebody a gift and they've thrown it back in your face? They've gone, no, can't possibly be. No, don't be silly. No, you're not paying for this meal. No.
Yeah,
right?
It's ludicrous.
It is like pulling teeth, right? You want to give them a gift because the art of receiving is the giving. Is when you receive, you gift them.
Yeah, that's the whole paradox of this thing, right?
Right. So in the same way, when you receive gifting yourself time, they feel good. This couple that I'm talking about, they had the most passionate, intimate relationship now. Like, they came to me because they had issues with their intimacy, because he was ready to leave. He'd already got an apartment because he thought his wife had something wrong with her in the sexual department. Wasn't true.
Right.
He'd made a story because he felt pain. There was no judgment. Right? And so she is now glowing. Like, this couple speak to me at 6 a.m. in the morning. She's just got out of bed and she's glowing. He is like, yes, she goes for the massage. Yes, she does. And he's happy as anything, right? So what I would say, ladies, think about what story you're making up about the guilt. Think about what story you're making up, and is it true? Is it really true?
I love, sorry, go. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, because I want nothing more than for you all to feel so good about yourselves, that your cup is so full that you then, when you give from the overflow. You never feel depleted, because we only ever feel like we give with resentment when we're giving from a half empty place, when we feel depleted. And that everybody feels it.
Yes. When you give from the overflow and giving yourself, that it's like, we've heard this so many times in so many ways, and it never really sunk into me until I had health problems and until my marriage was falling apart. And I'm like, wait, I've been teaching self-care for women for like decades. And because I was trying, I look back on that now and I'm like, oh, in some ways I was trying to, my soul knew that I needed this information and was trying to teach it to myself. But it usually is our message anyway. And it usually is that what we came here to share with others is something we had to live in trauma with for ourselves first, to have empathy. And so I'm not shaming myself for that. It just is what it is, but it's something that, because I am such a driven person and because I love what I do, I have to always come back to that Egyptian goddess sitting on her throne with someone palming, my palm flapping, my cat on my lap, and my husband to my side. And for whatever reason, that works for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dimple,
that's your symbol of your goddess, right?
It is my goddess thing. Yeah. And so I know you and I could have a whole other discussion just about marriage, but we have courses on it. And we have this freedom in marriage that we just, I'll have to drive our listeners in the show notes to that. And also fixyourmarriageinfortydays.com. We just have so many offerings that we're bringing because we have learned this the hard way, and we know what it feels like to be suffering and not know how to have the tools to even function, much less make a marriage work. We've been there. We've been on the floor.
And the data shows that when you are in that place where you're stuck in your marriage, your productivity, both for the man and the woman, goes down by 80% in all other areas in your life. So don't be surprised if you aren't functioning in other areas. It's just, that's the science behind it. That's the data, right?
Yeah, it's a real thing. The struggle is real.
Yeah. So when you fix it, so the paradigm is, when you fix it, look at how much more productivity is available to you. Right?
Yes. And I love that you've shown up as a beacon in my life to reflect that and show me that. And, I know that we've been on quite the journey together in just the short time we've known each other. And we're going to be offering, as soon as COVID is like a done deal, we are going to have the most epic retreats for marriage ever. We decided we were going to do it. First, we were going to do it in Italy. Now we're going to do it in Spain, right? When it's safe. But just, so listeners, we'll let you know about that. But thank you, Dimple. This has been so good for me. And it's the 100th episode of Seeking Wholeness. And I just knew it had to be you that shared in the moment with me, because you've been a real integral part in helping me to truly understand the feminine on a very deep, personal, fierce, loving, powerful level. So I honor you for that.
Cherie, thank you so much. Wow. I'm receiving that fully. I really, really appreciate this privilege, and that, like, to be on your 100th episode is just, what a gift. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to express my gratitude for those of you who faithfully listen to this podcast, because I know that I have a lot of faithful listeners, and I appreciate you sharing this with your friends, male or female, it doesn't matter. I just know that people need to listen to a lot of this content because I interview the most amazing people and we dive deep, and healing is what needs to happen on this earth, and accepting our wholeness and remembering it and claiming it. So thank you, especially as we are in Thanksgiving week. I love that my 100th episode landed on Thanksgiving week, because I do just have such a gratitude, a love and respect for everyone who's contributed to this show to this point, and those of you especially who listen, who keep it alive. And just remember that we are actually in this time of the earth being forced inward. And this is a beautiful invitation to allow yourself to feel it all, to feel who you are. This is how I always start the podcast episode. I say, this is a podcast for women who long to feel, express, and be who they truly are. Well, guess what? This is a grand invitation from the universe to come out of this season of self-doubt and self-incrimination and self-loathing and second-guessing, and just be yourself. You can find more of mine and Dimple's offer on fixyourmarriageinfortydays.com. I am so excited for what lies ahead, where we get to dive even deeper into some controversial topics, but I'm just like releasing what people think. I don't care if it's controversial. I'm going to talk about it. So stay tuned for a really super cool holiday season with the podcast, as well as coming into a brand new year. Have a blessed week. Happy Thanksgiving for those of you in the United States, and even those of you who are not. And know that I am truly grateful for your listenership.